let's get started with our November work session. I appreciate everybody agreeing to change down the middle of the week to the uh, North American Livestock Expo. So Thursday wouldn't work for me. So thank y'all for changing. I do want, while we're all thinking about it, I do want to electric our family and that tragic incident and what happened there. And just keep them in your thoughts and prayers as we go out. And like, if anything we can do, please let us know. We know yours or knows me. And then a shout out to East Jackson, 2 state titles. That's pretty awesome. So we're real proud of those also. That's all I got.
All right, very good. Well, I'd like to second your thoughts and to also, while it be with the East community for days to come, I thank the leadership there and that entire community because they rallied around in support, and we had several counselors there, and it was a tragic loss and for kids or any of us to handle, but certainly the entire school community circled around. They had a prayer vigil this morning, and they had another one this afternoon, and we've got plenty of counseling staff there, and so we'll be there again tomorrow. And so I think that they're moving forward. We don't have any details of needs of the family right now. There's still to come. Investigation and so forth, but certainly embracing her. He has a younger sister who is a freshman, and embracing her and all of the friends and family there. So thank you. And again, very, very, very proud of the outstanding performance across the school district. There are many things to celebrate, but the cross country team this past weekend, and Chase Kennedy, who won the single. Mr. Dixon said there was nobody even around him, so he won an individual single as well as a state title, and then certainly the softball team. So much to celebrate, and Panthers are making it to the playoffs, and I think that the East Jackson competition cheer team is going on to state as well, and then both of our bands are doing a great job, and it's difficult to recognize a few because there's so many, but lots of great things to celebrate across our district. I've got just a few general information updates. One of the charges that we had as a board was to convene our Parent Advisory Council, and as you know, they met with us in September. They will meet with us again in January at the January 5th work session. But one of our goals was to provide that board advisory council with a tour of our schools. And so while we only had about 8 folks that were available to make it that day, we did a full-fledged tour, and it was very, very beneficial. It was Mr. Farmer and his staff provided a bus. They got the full experience. Welcome. And they got the full experience, and we were able to visit all of the schools, and they had great questions. They were very insightful that we want to try to do every year. In fact, folks who were not able to go I guess it's been 2 weeks ago now, asked if there was any way we could do another one in the spring before testing season begins. And if we can arrange that, I think it would be a good idea because it truly was that beneficial. But appreciate the charge of us doing that, and I think it was very insightful. Just a reminder that our board has our GSBA conference. We'll go down Wednesday night, and then Thursday is our training, and looking forward to that. You got the registration last month, and then Friday as well. And then I just wanted to update you. As you know, we get some of our hours for training at GSBA, but then whole board training is scheduled for March the 10th. That is the Friday after our work session, and I'd like for you, if you don't mind, between now and then to look at your calendars. And it may be that March the 9th, which is our work session, begins our training and we finish it on the 10th. I did speak with Dr. Russ Cook at the Carl Vinson Institute about a really sort of a comprehensive 2-year training for our board so that we have a goal going forward. And Dr. Cook has some great ideas, and I'll share more detail with you as it comes. But if you'll just make sure that March 9th and 10th are on your calendar so that we can have our whole board training. And then I want to send a thank you out to Ms. Bridgman. One of this year is to really unify, and I have to say that on both across our county, even with us having difficult rezoning conversations, there's a great level of camaraderie that's unified, and I'm grateful to our school leaders who I think have really inspired that and to really step out and support each other. I saw many things over the weekend where Panthers were praying for Eagles. I've seen many things where Eagles have stepped up and cheering for each other's bands, and I see an improvement there, and I'm excited about that because we certainly are one community. And another effort that we have here is to have our Relay for Life be one team. So we have the Jackson County school system as one team, and then we'll have each school have their own sort of teams within, but in terms of a Jackson County school system, we're one team. And they're trying to sort of reset the Relay for Life event, and instead of having two different events in different sides of the county, they've moved forward with having one, and they were looking for a location, and we offered Jackson County Comprehensive High School's track, and so that will be a 6 to 12 event on Friday, May the 5th, and we do have representation from all schools that will have will have a unified team. So that's just a reminder for something to pencil on your calendar if you have not done so, and we're going to work hard to get that effort off the ground community-wide, so that's a great effort. And then, of course, as you know, we had a great meeting at East Jackson Elementary School in October, and we have a follow-up meeting next. Part of that meeting, we'll have our rezoning updates, and we'll have our official rezoning hearing. And one of the things that I felt, I was very grateful for the folks who came to the hearing, and I thought that their feedback was very I mean, I appreciate how professionally they've handled themselves, and they looked at it from a very global perspective. So with that being said, I have visited all of our schools. I've been to most of them 2 or 3 times. Ms. Bridgman helped me to realize how important it is to provide opportunities, and it's been great because I've been to school council meetings, I've been to PTOs, I've been to drop-in parent meetings so that if people just had individual conversations, and it has afforded me understand unique situations. So I think that our rezoning map, we've done a very good job, with the exception of reconsidering potentially what came up last month, and that was that small area to the eastern side of Commerce that we had rezoned for Maysville. So what I have for you in your packet is an exact number of students by each of those zones, and this is for you as a reference. But the part I'd like to call your attention to that I think may be in my opinion, the only area that we want to revisit is the area that's zoned from East Jackson to Maysville. And if you look at individual, it's on page 2, you can see there that there's a total of 31 students. And so Mr. Hitzkes and I spent a couple of hours with Ms. Hallie going road by road and looking at what grade these children are in and exactly how it would impact her. And that would put her total, if the board should decide that they want to reconsider those 2 small areas and allow those children to stay at East Elementary and revise the zoning, then it would have an impact of 31 children at East. And that would put her right at 619. The last page will show you enrollment numbers after rezoning as proposed, and then the second table there is if we consider the inclusion of the Commerce area triangle pockets there. So that I think is for your consideration. I certainly respect their concern. We've had, there's no easy way to do this. Maysville is a precious school. It's not in the best of locations, and so there's no easy way to fill it up, Mr. Brooks. It's really nothing personal. There's great things happening there, but and everybody I've talked to has said it's not that I don't want to go to Maysville. It's just that I don't want to leave East, and it's so far away. And so everyone has some legitimate concern, but that because that came up at the last hearing twice, I wanted to at least provide you with these numbers so that you could make some informed recommendations as a board as to whether or not that should be considered. So that is there for your consideration. And like I said, we did meet with Ms. Hallie and with Ms. Brookshire to go over the numbers and make sure that they're comfortable with the impact of all of these. So we do have our second hearing at Gum Springs on Monday night. So I've already been to that school 3 times, I think, and so I don't expect that there'll be any new information. They're fully aware. They're aware of House Bill 251. Some of them have already, looked at that option, but they understand that we have to do this to level set for the future. So that is all we have. Any questions related to the rezoning or thoughts or?
Are those 31 all in that area that's on the other side of Commerce? Is that what this is?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Areas, there's, yeah, right there, as well as that area. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Do we have any in the middle area right there between the
districts?
There's like,
There are some
yes.
that we didn't consider them.
And they're already zoned Maysville, so it wouldn't be a change for them.
They're already
They're already
okay.
zoned,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
The dividing line.
It's right there. That's it.
Actually, no.
No, it's a black line. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up there. So we picked up everybody.
I think, you know, to be that, and that's for you all to consider that.
Yeah, it just only makes sense as far as logistics wise. I think that's gonna be a nightmare as a farmer. Plus, as far as comments we've heard,
Mhm.
it's really logical sense.
I think we wanna do our best not to create another triangle like we've done in the past.
I would agree. So I appreciate your feedback on that and your willingness to allow us to truly hear from those hearings. And we can certainly discuss that, or I'll take a, you know,
I mean, we're still below the maximum, the number we want to be in schools anyway.
right.
31
Right.
versus, 363 versus 317.
Yeah.
394.
Yeah, we're still not getting Maysville to the size that we want it to for them to be able to have the programs, but hopefully over time there's some great things happening there, and I think as that continues to grow that we'll see more.
It's a big school.
It's a very large school, physically, in terms of the physical plant, it is a big school. North Jackson will be they're growing pretty quickly, and we're pushing a few kids from West Elementary and Gum Springs. My point in saying that is the other area that has expressed some concerns are the children moving from North to Maysville. There were a couple of families that were disheartened by that, and I recognize and appreciate it. The challenge is North Jackson is just, that area is growing, and they're going to reach 450, I think, pretty quickly because of some of the development that's going in there. So I don't think we can afford to not rezone that area for Maysville. So, all right. Well, you all think about it. You look at the numbers. If you have any questions, you let me know, and we can, if you're certainly comfortable with it, we can publicly discuss that may be an option. And I would recommend that we not take a vote on this until the December board meeting so that you have an opportunity to hear from both the East community, and then next week you'll hear from the West community, and then you'll have time to process all that, and then we will make a recommendation based on any feedback at the December board meeting. So, all right, I'll turn it over to Mr. Nicholson with lots of exciting teaching and learning updates.
Absolutely. I was saying before, I feel like I need a theme song, and it's got to be the data guy because lately we've had a very, very thick package of data. It's just to keep you informed, and this data, unfortunately, so it's got the green, yellow, and red on it. This is just so that before our CCRPI scores are officially out there in the news and media and everything, that you have some information. The problem with it is the same thing that I sat here and told you last year. This data is from last year, so it's significantly lagging. But again, just so that you're aware of what they've done is they're rolling out pieces of it. So what you have here is a summary on the top, and I'm not going to go into any kind of detail on the subsequent pages. But if you're really interested, you can go and look school by school and see how this was tallied. But these are for subgroups, and so when you get your CCRPI, if you have a large enough population in your subgroup, then you get individual scored or flags rather. And so you can see they're in green, yellow, and red. Obviously green being the more favorable color, you look for yellow and red, and even within those they have different categories. But I just did a quick glance so that you can see that it's clear where we have our work cut out. If you just go down that front page and you see that the percentage of green, or none for that matter, that's certainly not where we want to be. The good news about this is that while we didn't have the CCRPI data in this format, we certainly have already had our milestones when schools prepared their strategic waiver plan for you, when they've done their school improvement plan to account. So our goal would be, coupled with the map data that I shared last month, that we're progress monitoring throughout the year so that we, even though if the state continues to have lagging data, we as Jackson County Schools have a much better view of where we are, and we have a better way of monitoring our performance so that we're not waiting until November, December, January to talk about last year's performance. So again, that's just the very simple overview. the rest of the pages have a more specific breakdown. I will pause if you have questions. If you don't, I won't be offended, but there's a lot of data there.
Doing that front page, Mr. Nicholson, that you basically want more green and less yellow and red. That's the simplistic approach here, right?
Absolutely. We don't want any red, really.
We don't want any red, that's
Yellow
right.
is not awful, and within yellow, you can really, it's splitting hairs, but there's the SG, the PSG, the PS. It all means we're not quite, there's some reason why we're not quite on target, but we're not failing. Green certainly means we're doing a good job. And so when we don't have a lot of green, that's where we're focusing a lot of our energy right now.
This may be an appropriate time for me to interrupt you and just send a shout out again to East Jackson High School. You want to comment on the graduation rates that were recently released?
Most certainly, yeah, sure they have.
No, no. So the East Jackson High School's graduation rate was 95.3. Outstanding, highest it's been in the history of the school. They did a very good job. Jackson County's was 86, and quite honestly, I feel certain that they were a little disappointed in that, as were we. But as a district, we've done very well, and so proud of both schools. But East has done a fantastic job, and 95.3 is great. It's wonderful.
And with Martha's expertise, I feel pretty confident that we can see some
Absolutely.
It's not actually the lack of grad, it has to do with data.
Tracking the kids.
Tracking the students when they
Yep.
leave, and so that there's a real quick win there that we just need to make sure that we're monitoring that process.
Do you attribute that to kids being able to come into the media center and get caught up or ahead?
I think I think there's a variety of things, and if Mr. Dixon were here, he could share some of the strategies. One certainly is the flexibility to go in and do credit recovery as it comes up by unit instead of waiting till the end. You do it as you need along. The other thing that I have observed myself personally is Mr. Dixon has a spreadsheet himself of seniors